Final two races of the day are up here then at Whilton Mill for round two of the Junior and Cadet Kart Championship. Junior Pro Kart final is out on circuit, and triple race winner so far today, Max Shields, will start on pole position alongside Christian Oblang, with Seb Pereira and Conor McCarthy on row 2, Owen Roberts and Sophie Pawsey on row 3. Thomas Wilkins and Amy Frame on row 4, Reece Knight and Harry Roddice row 5, with Harrison Johns on row number 6. Just want a quick shout out to Sophie Pawsey. We're getting support in from her big sister as we see little Charlie Hannon there sat in Mason Webster's kart. I mean, a quick look round, and he's only, I think he's 3 years off of Bambino Alex. I'm joined in the combox by Alex Goldschmidt. Alex, welcome to the combox. You've been here all day watching some fantastic racing here at Whilton Mill.
Yes, as always, Whilton Mill here in just a short throw from the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone. It's a great venue as always. It provides fantastic racing, great elevation changes. I mean, especially going up into Christmas Corner at the top of the hill, Ashby's, the boot, the pit bend, the infamous pit bend, I might add. It has showcased the very best of the CKC and the JKC on this second round of the championship, and we're coming to the tail end. There have been a few dramas here today, notwithstanding I did see a couple of incidents myself.
Some at that pit bend as well.
Well, I didn't see any at pit bend. I was on the gantry a bit earlier on, I think during one of the Minimax races, but yeah, it is hard and fast here in CKC and JKC, and I wouldn't expect anything otherwise more than anything.
It's one of them tracks, really, where there's not many places you can't overtake. We've seen pretty much everywhere today, haven't we? Into the first corner in that run up to Christmas,
yep.
The run downhill to Ashby's, then people have been taking advantage of people getting that wrong and getting overtakes into the two lefts, then into the boot, the final corner. It really is a driver's circuit when it comes to overtaking.
It is, and you've got to really tee up that momentum as well at the best of times. I mean, going into Oblivion and Crook, a perfect example. You come out of pit bend right, don't wallop the curbs on the inside of the apex, you're probably going to tee yourself up for some really good momentum, and then that can lead up the hill up to Christmas. And we've seen some overtakes around the outside, and that just showcases when you get it right, it's a pretty satisfying feeling, especially when you're behind the wheel.
Yeah, we caught that overtake. We weren't even focused on it. We saw JJ logo right round the outside of Christmas Corner, didn't we? Luckily, we caught just the tail end of it, which was enough to give him the credit he deserves from that overtake. The sun then starting to go down, although luckily the light here was still running as well. It was light till well beyond 8 o'clock last night here at Whilton Mill, and but the sun starting to go down, and that could cause one or two issues for in the eye lines of drivers. For me, the one I want to watch in this one is Owen Roberts, the novice, who's started every race from the back, but starts the final on the third row, such has been his strength of positioning throughout the day. Let's see how he can do from a little bit further forward on the grid.
It's always nice to see the novices really sort of punching above their weight and really getting the confidence over the course of practice yesterday. I know it was a bit snowed off as well. There was snow all across the UK.
Junior Pro Kart final is away then. There's a bit of bouncing from some of the drivers as Sophie Pawsey slots across that number 77 machine. She makes a good start, but she may get hung out to dry around the outside as Max Shields from pole position could find himself down in third place, although there was a bit of curb there from Seb Pereira, and Shields is going to send one down the inside on the opening lap here towards Christmas Corner, and he's going to have to settle for second place. It looks like Conor McCarthy has slotted into third. Christian Oblang then leading the way from Max Shields. For McCarthy in third, with Seb Pereira in fourth, Pawsey into fifth.
Yeah, Pereira seemed to go a little bit wide at the top of Christmas Corner, and that allowed the door for Conor McCarthy to go through. But round the outside, of all people, finds Maximus Shields having one sent round the outside of him.
Yeah, he tried to go down the inside, and it looks like Christian Oblang has managed to hold on, although Oblang does slightly overcook it on the way through there and then puts the brakes on halfway round. Max Shields has to slot back in. Looked like he was going to get the cutback through there, was Max Shields, and we've seen him throughout the day take a much more, well, I would say Rotaxi line, but he does drive one, of course, but he is taking that much more Rotax line, which involves hugging the left to sort of maximise the speed all the way round. He's been taking that line throughout the day, whereas a lot of our other junior pro karters have just been throwing it straight into the middle of the track. Shields has been taking a different corner, and we've seen earlier on that sort of helped him up at Christmas, being even at the other end of the circuit. It's been maximising his run all the way up to the other end of the track.
Rotax is very much the case of carry the momentum through the corner, whereas Pro Kart is a very different opportunity altogether, as he's really on the back bumper on Pereira, and Pereira goes off Oblag, and Oblag goes 2 wheels off the track, kicks up the grass, and Max Shields back through to retake the lead.
Yeah, mistake there from Christian Oblang, under pressure from our race, and now will be championship leader, I'm sure, Max Shields with his 3 red, but Shields has gone wide as well, bouncing over the curbs, and just as we were saying it, Christian Oblang is back into the lead. Shields down to second, Pereira up into third then with Conor McCarthy. Max Shields hasn't picked up on timing once again. He is leading, but he's left down there. There's a late move down the inside there from McCarthy. Pereira sees it coming. He had that one scouted, gives him sufficient distance, and stays in P3. Sophie Pawsey, though, in this one, Alex, not being dropped from this lead pack, staying with the top 4.
And also Amy Frame rounding out, the remainder of that top 6. So good to see that both Sophie and Amy really giving the boys something to think about. And it just goes to show how inclusive karting is.
Absolutely. As Shields tries to put one down the inside. Amy Frame didn't practice at all yesterday, so they came into this race day cold. She's heating up just when it matters towards the end of the day and sticking with the rest of the pack, as Shields has half a move down the inside there on Christian Oblag, but has to back out in the early part of that as Amy Frame picks up a contact warning. Owen Roberts has moved in front of her then in what is P6, although 5th on timing down the left-hand side, as Max Shields is being shown as a lap down, but he's currently in second place then behind Christian Oblag at the moment, as Pereira is beginning to defend, Alex, already in this 10-minute final. We're not even half race distance, but he is parking that number 21 machine about a cart length in from the white line on some of the more easy, well, I say easier, but I'd say more favoured overtaking opportunities, as Shield has the nose chopped off there by Christian Oblang, and that might open up an opportunity now for Pereira and Conor McCarthy. On that long run from here, it's all flat out all the way up to Christmas.
Yeah, McCarthy did have the initial measure of Sebastian Pereira going into lap 1. You've really got the whole shot, got through past on the 21, but now Oblag's got two very determined drivers at the back bumper, with Pereira ahead of McCarthy, rounding out the top 4. And this time around, I mean, it was when Pereira went wide at Christmas on the first lap, that opened the door for McCarthy to go through, but Pereira's been on the comeback trail and is looking to get forward and try and get past Oblag for second position.
Yeah, solid outing then for Seb Pereira in this one. He stuck with Max Shields when Shields came through, passed him in heat number 3, and then started taking the same lines, actually, that Max Shields was taking throughout the rest of that race, and it certainly assisted. And you see him there taking much more of a Shields line through the complex of corners, the left and then the double right before pit bend, as Oblag feels the need to have a look over his shoulder. But this is probably the most comfortable he's been out at the front all race day, and we say that because even though it's a small grid, half a second is comfortable really, because they've been so close throughout the day that Shields isn't even close enough to pop a nose out up there into Christmas. Half race distance then in this Junior Pro Kart final. The top 10 sees Max Shields in second place behind Christian Oblang, Seb Pereira's third, in front of McCarthy, Pawsey, Roberts, Frame, Wilkins, Knight and Roddis, the top 10. Yeah,
Oblag running a little bit wide there. Nearly opened the door up there for Max Shields, who's been doing double duty, as we know. He's been doing a bit of a Sandro Ballesteros from last season, as we have had a little bit of a change. It's side by side between Pereira and McCarthy. McCarthy's got the run into the boot. Has he made the move through? I don't think he has.
No, mistake then from Pereira. In the same mistake, actually, Oblag made at the start of this race, taking too much curb on the exit of Oziers. Not only does it slow the kart down, but it unsettles it as well. Doesn't give you the right position because you want to run it out there on the track, but not too far. And it does end up bouncing you too much over the curbs. And when your kart's in the air, it's not giving the tyres aren't on the tarmac, and you're not going as quickly as you want to.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Knight Rider turbo boost function that's unfortunately engaged, I'm afraid. But again, Shields right on the back bumper of Oblag. I mean, Shields, we know, is a determined competitor. And to do 2 classes, and I did have a chat with him earlier on, and I said, how's the thumb? He said, much better, thanks, since we had the first round at fullback last month. Yeah,
he was only 3 weeks out of a broken thumb for an incident that happened just over a fortnight before at Wombwell, in an incident that he had there where he came into contact with the stationary kart that spun in front of him. But now Max Shields looks like he's going much better. The thumb, as Alex said, is in much better nick, as once again Alex said Pereira goes wide there, and this time I think he might regret that one, as through comes Conor McCarthy. for third place. Sophie Pawsey in the background there, running a little bit wide, but carrying a lot of speed into that Christmas corner. But I think that's just going to drop her a kart length or two. But as these battles, she's staying with them in this final. We're going to have a 5-kart battle for the lead as we get towards the business end of this final. And Seb Pereira now is in that sandwich. And that, Alex, for me, it's not a position I ever like to be as a driver, because you do have to try and attack, but you have to be conscious that if you do make a move and it doesn't work out, the chances are you are giving up a place to that driver behind. It's
what I like to call the piggy in the middle situation, but Conor McCarthy on the previous lap set the fastest lap. I think it was a 51.401. As again, the leaders making their way up the hill towards Christmas Corner. Max Shields looking left, looking right, looking up into the inside of Christmas Corner, and Oblak shuts the door firmly in the direction of the 181. Yeah, Shields was a lot closer on that lap than he has been on the previous ones, but as we were saying there, in going for that overtake, he has dropped a kart length or two, and is likely to fall now into the clutches of Conor McCarthy if McCarthy can take advantage of that. And now McCarthy and Shields are both in that middle sandwich. It looks like Sophie Pawsey has dropped away ever so slightly in this one. A comfortable 5th place for her, and actually just staying with this front pack in her development in her 2nd year now in juniors. As we see, that was the line we were talking about there, and now Shields has managed to open the door on Christian Oblang, and Conor McCarthy may well come through as well. But that was the line we were saying that Shields uses there. Tight on entry, gets the cut back down the inside, and Max Shields leads with 2 minutes remaining in Junior Pro Kart. That was a pretty sweet move there from Max Shields, as now McCarthy, I think, is going to look for the inside line going through into Christmas. Oblak shuts the door once again, has to falter back, and then all of a sudden he just realises, hang on, I've got Sebastian Pereira right up my backside at the minute, and that's what I don't want. But it looks like Oblak's run wide. McCarthy has gone through. Yeah, for me, Shields there, he's done well, because what he's done is he's not looked for an overtake at that corner the entire race. He's sent it down the inside into Christmas every single lap. Christian Oblang then has gone, I'm comfortable at this end of the circuit, and when he thought he was comfortable, Shields is through and down the inside into lead. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining, and now it's Conor McCarthy taking up the challenge on Max Shields, and he's got a good run round then. He's going to have track position here, as he now, I thought he was going to stick it out round the outside, which would have given the inside for the crook, but he's certainly now in the slipstream. Shields is going to go defensive down the inside, leaves a kart length right the way round the outside goes Conor McCarthy. Shields is going to have to relent here, and Conor McCarthy with the overtake of the day round the outside of Christmas Corner and into the lead with 1 minute remaining. You know what's even more interesting? Sophie Pawsey is right on the back of the quartet in front. Game on. Absolutely. They're going to get round as well, Alex, here before this time elapses, so we're going to get 2 full laps at this one, and Shields has dropped a couple of kart lengths in defending so venomously that lead round that corner, because he thought he could stick it out, and we see a lot of drivers do that. They stick it out there, and they manage to get the back on the inside there for the Kinker Inkermans, but Conor McCarthy with a superb move round the outside, and he just really carried so much speed and track position. Fantastic for him, and now Shields has got to do everything he can just to close up as Seb Pereira goes down the inside. Not happy with Christian Oblang closing the door, but I don't know what he thought Oblang was going to do there. That door was always going to get shut. That was quickly closing at a big rate of knots, and I think Pereira is just showing a sign of frustration. The adrenaline's high in these young drivers, and to be completely honest, it's just about keeping your measure, and that's exactly what Sophie Pawsey has been doing. She's been doing a fantastic job, and I'm really, really pleased to see the 77 really keep these 4 on the back foot, so to speak. Absolutely. 1.2 seconds then between the entire leading 5 drivers. Max Shields showing down in 11th, but he's actually in 2nd place then, as the last lap board is out here. Conor McCarthy leading the way from Max Shields. Arguably, after Shields won the first 2, had a lot more pace in heat in heat 3. I think it was heat 2 where he overcooked it down the inside into Christmas and threw away some valuable points. The bigger picture here for Shields is that he's still going to score highly again for the championship, but it's going to be Conor McCarthy if he can hold on for this final half of the lap here at Whilton Mill. The top 3 have sort of dropped away from Seb Pereira and Sophie Pawsey as they continue to battle. So the top 3 looks like it's going to be McCarthy, Oblang and Max Shields, but in what order will it be? Will Shields once again try and get the cutback? Oblang goes for an optimistic move. The door's been left half open by Conor McCarthy, but Shields isn't close enough. Checkered flag flies in Junior Pro Kart, and Conor McCarthy wins from Max Shields and Christian Oblang with
Sebastian Pereira and Sophie Pawsey completing the top 5.